Hey guys, this is Vin, and in this video we're going to show you how to tune up your drum set and replace a skin or a head. Drum sets usually go out of tune because the skin loses the tension that the rods are providing for it, and this generally happens as you play on it or if they're not evenly tightened up to begin with, and especially if you've put a new head on after laying into it for a week. You generally want to retune it because the skins are getting used to, they're stretching out and they're getting comfortable with the tension that they've got. So it's important to keep your drum set in tune because it motivates you and it makes you sound like a better drummer. Alright, so I'm going to show you what the drum kit sounds like before tuning and the difference after tuning. Tuning your toms is generally a good starting point, so I'm going to show you what you need to know to get started. I'm sure you've generally got an idea of what a tom sounds like in terms of a drum set context, and you're probably right. So that's the sort of sound you want to aim for with the high, middle and low tom. The smallest one, the 12-inch, is your highest, the 13 is the middle one, and the 16 is the lowest. It is your floor tom, and it's the deepest, so it's going to be the most boomy and the biggest sounding tom. You kind of want to get in the ballpark of that sound with all three toms, and then go into each individual tom and fine tune the tensions to make sure they're all even. Please note that it's ideal for you to turn your snare wires off during this process, as certain frequencies while tuning the toms could set off the snare wires, and it's going to cause your ears unwanted distractions, which will make the process harder. So let's go ahead and look at what the toms sound like in context of the drum set. Already you can kind of hear the floor tom's a bit flat and there's not that much of a note pitch difference in terms of these two. So generally we want this one to be a bit higher and this one to have a bit more body. So let's go ahead and look at the high rack tom. We want it to sound higher and a bit more punchy, which means the top skin is definitely going to have to be tightened up. So let's go ahead and give that a quarter of a turn on each lug. What does that sound like now? It's sounding better already. A little bit more. As you can hear, there's some other frequencies going on while hitting this tom, not actually originating from this tom. And that's because these two toms aren't in tune with this one, which makes them give out that weird frequency. But the process of tuning it will rectify all of that. Alright, so from that first round of tuning and tightening up, we've already found that we've gotten a bit more punch from this tom, a bit more mid-range from this tom, and a bit more body and boom from this tom. Do note that on these two toms, there's a lot of background resonance going on after you hit the tom. That's going to be due to the underside of the tom, where the resonant head is. It sounds like the resonant head's a bit loose. We're going to have to tighten that one up during the process of tuning as well. So now we're going to go ahead and look at tuning this high tom on its own. Best way to do that is to remove it off a drum set and do it on a table, so that's what we're going to do. Alright, so we've propped the tom up on the table here, and I've just laid a towel on top of the table underneath the tom, and that's just personal preference. I like doing that to reduce the resonance going from the tom into the table, causing all sorts of other vibrational issues. So before, when we kind of got the sound we wanted, what we want to do now is make sure that all the lugs have an even amount of tension. So to help ensure that all our tension rods are evenly stretching the drum skin, we can use aids such as the tune bot or the drum dial, which will help you do it more accurately, or we can do it the old school way by ear, which is what I'm going to do today. So we start off just by tapping the top of the drum where the lug is. As you can hear, there's a difference in sound coming from these two, which means that the tension in both these areas is different. So what we're going to do now is we're going to tap the top of the head and find a spot which sounds the best. Then we're going to tighten and loosen the other tension rods around it and ensure that the whole top of the drum skin is sounding even. So I feel this spot right here sounds the best. So now we're going to go around and make sure everything else sounds like that. Okay, that's sounding pretty even to me now. I'm just going to give it a quick hit to see if I'm on the right track. So what we now need to do is we need to flip it over to the other side and make sure the tension's even on the bottom head. So this is pretty much just repeating what we did on the top head, but on the bottom head, also known as the resonant side. Ideally, a good starting point would be to have the pitch on the top side the same as the pitch on the bottom side, and then you can tighten and loosen the top side as you see fit. Okay, so that's sounding pretty even to me. Let's go ahead and give it a hit, see what it sounds like now. That's sounding a lot better to me. Now we're going to move on to the next tom and then the fourth tom. Alright guys, so I've done all the toms. I'm now going to move on to the bass drum. So first thing you do is strip everything off the drum set. Lay the bass drum flat on the floor, as so, and the process is exactly the same. So you're just going to want to go around every lug and make sure you've got an even sounding tension across the top of the skin. I generally like having it a bit tighter so that I've got a bit of rebound and a bit of spring after each hit. So it's personal preference, but for starters, just do what feels comfortable. Alright guys, so I've tuned up the whole drum set. I've done the toms and then I've gone to the bass drum. And I've also done the snare. So now we're just going to go ahead, I'm going to do a playthrough and we're going to see what it sounds like in reference to what it sounded like before tuning it. Alright, so now that we know how it sounds like once it's tuned up, we can take the sound of the drum kit to the next level by putting some new skins on, some better quality skins on. These are just the stock skins that came with the drum set. They're just 1-ply plastic. We can go ahead and get something like a coated batter head. These heads are slightly thicker and you can feel the texture, they're a bit more rough. They're not just 1-ply plastic. They've got a strip attached to the bottom side of the head which cuts some of the pingy resonance noises you get. Obviously these skins don't have that, so you're going to get some extra overtones which you didn't really want. So we're going to go ahead and reskin the whole drum set with a set of these coated skins from Artist Guitars, and we're going to see how it sounds like once we've done that. Another benefit of having these skins on your kit is that they last longer, they're more durable, and they're easier to tune once they're on the kit. You can pick apart the frequencies and the overtones easier just because it's got this strip at the back which sort of focuses the sound a bit more. So So replacing the skin is similar to that of tuning in the sense that you want to evenly loosen all the lugs before you remove the skin. And once you place it back on, you want to go through the same process of tuning it. Once the head's placed on, before we tighten up the tension rods, it's important to stretch out the skin. Don't be afraid to put a pressure on it so the warps come out on the side. Just a couple of seconds and release. This will sort of break the skin in a little bit, and it's going to be quicker to season, and it's going to sort of stretch out before you've actually tightened stuff on, so that when you're playing on it, it doesn't loosen up as quickly. So you want to get them on finger tight first, which means just as tight as your fingers can make them. So now that we've got it finger tight, we want to go in a diagonal fashion and tighten it all up. Now that we've got the head on, we're going to go ahead and tune it up again exactly like how we did before, this time just with the new head. So it's the exact same principles. Tap around the top of the head, find that one spot that sounds good, and then do it for the rest. Alright guys, so I've replaced all the heads and I've tuned them up exactly as how I tuned them up before with the previous heads. And now we're just going to go ahead and see how it all sounds. So as you can see guys, the drums are already sounding a lot more vibrant. There's a lot more color in the sound. The snare's really popping. You've got a lot of punch in the toms with that bit of resonance and tone. And you've also got that thud in the bass drum which carries the beat. And all that was just simply achieved by putting on some new skins and tuning them up exactly as we did before. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and look at some dampening techniques which will help you control the sound of the drums, give you a much more focused attack and not deviate with some bung frequencies that come out.